Well, when we are talking about dominating nature is like to having influence or power over other, right? And it's not just a limited to our humankind. It's like spread all over the animal kingdom. Whoever's our life, so we can see this in all sort of animals, all sort of life forms. Well, over there, everyone want to dominate over other to become the recognized, we can say, right? To become the recognized individual in their own category, be whatever it is. Like for example, if you try to understand in general animal kingdom, so over here a powerful or what you can say more brave, those kind of animal prevail over others, right? And same it goes in all sort of animal forms, whatever animals are there. And when we try to understand this in our humans itself, it's like a quality which is still recognized in today's society. Well, a person try to dominate over other due to like to having influence in society, to have a recognition in society, to become the best person, to be known the best person in society, right? So when we try to understand this, so it's not just a mere just a basic quality. The dominance is like it's spread all over. Like we can understand it with our social spectrum, we can understand it with even our biology, right? If you try to understand the social spectrum over there, in our social spectrum, all pupils have like they are fighting or trying to dominate for their name, their fame, or we can say their influence in society. So when we try to understand this, so it's not just a limited to a particular group or particular organization. It's like we can say this is divided in their community. We can understand in community itself, there are dominating traits in some individual. Even in religious figures, there are some inside religion itself, there are religious figures who are trying to dominate over others. Or same, it's like even a nation is trying to dominate over the other nation. So when we try to understand, it's not just a limited to our what you can say individual level. It's like it's a going with hierarchy. Like from here it can go like in our community, our organizations. With that it goes with our states as well, right? So dominance is not just like on social base as we are trying to understand. When we try to understand it at biological level as well, if individual our immune system try to suppress those all pathogens, whoever are outside of pathogens who can be harmful to our body, so our immune system suppress them to make us alive, to make us the healthy person, right? Same it's in our society as well. But at least in our immune system, when our immune system is suppressing some virus or some pathogen from outside, so at least it's not harming other, it's limited to our own self. And sometimes yes, sometimes we tend to lose from the outside the pathogens, our immune system loses from outside the pathogens. So in that case we lose our life, right? But when we try to understand this on our outside the world, so outside the world it has become a more dangerous situation. Because dominance, when we are talking about, when a person is having a dominator mentality, they do not consider other life form as life form. The dominating nature person consider other as like a person who are meant to serve, or a person who are meant to be suppressed, right? So when we are trying to understand dominating nature, dominating we can see in our political spectrum, we can understand there are people who are trying to dominate. And when we can see in our economical world itself, it is right. So here everyone is fighting for power, people are fighting for name, fame. So whoever are fighting for these things are like to be recognized in society, so they have a somewhere like the dominating mentality or the dominating press, right? So when a person is trying to dominate over other, so it's a very natural that the person is not considering other person equal to itself or herself, himself, right? So when a person is trying to dominate over other, so over there the person does not have its own what you can say own understanding about the reality, about the real understanding about the life, understanding about the reality of a human. So when a person is not understanding the reality of a human, reality of a life, so in that sense definitely we can understand, so the person is not just lacking in this quality, the person might be lacking in other quality as well. Because to having a better understanding or having a general understanding about the life form, having the general understanding about the equality, if a person not having that, so that means the person is losing in many qualities. While that internal dominance is very important for our life, for our health, but when we try to see the dominance in outside the world, because as I said already in last videos itself, I have discussed about that in our society today, we have developed like humans are one of the most evolved creature, right? And we have the most evolved mind. So when we have this beautiful mind, this most powerful mind, so it's our whole soul responsibility to understand, to use this mind for like to have a better society, or how it's possible to have a better society when all sort of life forms. I'm not just talking, just at least first of all, when you try to understand humans, so humans shall have equal right. How many humans are on this earth? As of now, like there are 8 billion, so all 8 billion have their equal right to become the equal person in society, right? And once we are done with our humans equality, so then we can think of other life form as well. Because dominance, okay, it was part of our, what you can say, evolutionary process, and we evolved with the dominating nature, dominating character, whatever we had, that rest inside us. Still, that's a, but today's society does not need that, right? If we want to win over others, so we can win with our love, with our what you can say, service, with our kindness. We do not have to win with power or with our anger, or what you can say, with our physical ability or with our mental ability over other, right? We do not have to win over them by power. We can win over them with our softness, right? Which is called a soft power, soft skill, right? So when we try to understand these things, so dominating nature, for sure, I know it's still prevalent in animal. It's too much, because animals are the best example of any kind of traits when we see in humans, because after all humans also evolved from animal, right? So as we evolved, so definitely we can see those things are more dominating in animal. Why? Because they are at lower level in that evolutionary process here, right? So when we see these qualities in animals, so we can understand that those qualities are like backward, right? They are at lower spectrums, what you can say, qualities. That time they were relevant when we did not have this kind of understanding, when we did not have this kind of mindset. But today, when humans are like this evolved, this our mindset is this evolved, we can understand, we can think, we can imagine. So at this position, to have a dominant mentality is like, I shall say, like it's like a ice age thing, or the, what you can say, stone age thing, right? So but it does not sound good, right? We are evolved, we are developed, we are literate, day by day we are developing, evolving. So it has to be natural to us that we are changing ourselves, we are changing our those qualities which were part of our evolution. But today they are not required anymore, because if we will go by our dominating nature, so definitely it is that we will not respect the other life form. And when other life form we are trying to understand, so that's also human, right? I'm not talking about just the other animal form, as animal life form. I'm talking about this just a particular other life form as human. Because if I have dominating mentality, I do not consider other human as humans. I just consider them as person who can be suppressed, right? But which is not a good approach. And when as we have evolved, so it's like my request, or I shall say it's my wish, or I hope that everyone understands these things, because it's a time to change now. Whatever happened, that happened, because past I know we have evolved by some qualities with some abilities, but today those ability and quality are not relevant anymore, right? So we shall understand those things, and to move forward we shall have this mentality, and we shall clear our thing, right? Because the better we understand these things, so better it would be, it will be to eliminate them. And once we will eliminate one by one, so it would be very easy to make this society a beautiful society, where every life will have equal respect, where every life will have what you can say, a better opportunity to grow, right? When we talk about these things, I know it's a very interesting thing actually to talk about these things, because after all we are part of this full evolution. So to understand ourselves, what we are, how we are, if you try to understand ourselves, so definitely it's a very interesting thing. Well, I too can pass my full life, or I can forget everything while I'm discussing about this particular topic. Well, as of now, I can keep this video very short, because I will keep discussing about these things. And even though if you don't know, so this channel is all about this. So you can check other video. And with this, I shall say thank you for joining. And today's topic, I believe that I could satisfy little of your curiosity, little of your understanding about things. Well, if it did, so please subscribe. That would be a gift, or what you can say, a return something from your side. And even though it would be helpful for you, that next time whenever I will put on anything, so you will get instant update if you press that bell icon about to that as well, right? And if you are not subscribing, probably I could not appease you, or probably you did not like me, or the way how I speak, or the way how I try to keep things. So please, for that, use comment section and leave at least that comment which will help me to grow in future. Well, as it's not just a my channel, I shall say it, let's make it a community that where we can come and we can understand things, right? And thank you for joining, for your precious time. And if you want to know these things, yeah, check out this video. By then, please take care.